If you are a man and want to easily arouse women's true interest and deep desire, pay attention. Have you ever noticed how some men seem to have a magnetic pull that draws women to them without their even trying? Hello, this is James. I'm here to help you develop a stoic mindset to master your relationships with women and take control of your dating life. If you're ready to level up, hit the subscribe button. Now let's get started. Today, we're diving into what creates that kind of irresistible energy using lessons from Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that focuses on wisdom, self-control, and har. You'll see how these timeless principles can work wonders in modern relationships. True confidence isn't about putting on a show or flexing. It's not about trying to be the loudest man in the room. True confidence is that quiet, steady belief in yourself that you don't have to shout about. It's the kind of power that women can feel without you even saying a word. The older men who just carry themselves effortlessly, walking into a room and commanding attention without even trying. But why is that? Their secret is that they've been through it all. They've faced the highs and lows, the victories and the failures, made mistakes, learned from them, and come out on the other side with a deeper understanding of themselves over time. That's how they've developed an unwavering sense of self-assurance. And that's exactly what makes them magnetic. It's not necessary to prove your value to others because they already know it in their hearts. Women can sense that type of energy from a distance. And this confidence isn't dependent on outside validation. It's what separates a man who is continuously vying for attention from one who doesn't have to. A man who is aware of his value doesn't need to brag or flaunt it. He is simply peacefully anchored at this point. Let's discuss the Stoic viewpoint. According to the Stoics, our genuine strength originates within. It is not about our exterior environment or how other people see us. Rather, it is about developing virtue, wisdom, and self-awareness. A Stoic man is not dependent on true confidence, quiet power that attracts women. Instead of relying on the ephemeral opinions of others to define who he is, he tries to live by his principles, aligning his actions with his values, and that alignment, that inner peace, is incredibly attractive when you're rooted in your own sense of self. When you've weathered life's storms and come out stronger, women are drawn to you naturally because it's as though the energy you radiate is irresistible. You don't need to prove anything because you've already proven it to yourself. And here's the beauty of it. This type of confidence increases with age because as you get older, you realize that you don't have to rush for approval. You've discovered that the person who commands respect isn't always the loudest person in the room. Rather, it's the one who remains composed, doesn't react to everything, and remains resilient in the face of difficulties. Women are drawn to men like that because they see stability, wisdom, and strength. The next time you find yourself trying to impress someone, keep in mind that true confidence isn't about impressing anyone at all. Rather, it's about accepting who you are, your journey, your mistakes, your growth, your successes, and knowing that you are enough. When you start living from that place of inner certainty, you won't need to seek attention or try to win people over. You'll become a magnet without even trying. That's the kind of attraction that lasts, because it's based on something genuine and enduring, and that's the kind of confidence that women find genuinely irresistible. Take a moment to think, do you know your worth? Are you living with quiet confidence rooted in your own sense of self? Because that's the kind of energy that makes women not just interested, but addicted to being around you. Let's take a moment to discuss patience. In today's world, where everything happens so quickly, patience can seem like a superpower. Everyone is glued to their phones in an attempt to complete tasks more quickly and efficiently. But patience is becoming a lost art. The problem is that patience is more than just waiting for things to happen. It's about being present in the moment and truly listening, not just hearing words, but understanding them. It's about giving someone the time and space to fully express themselves without making snap judgments or demanding immediate results. When we apply this to relationships, particularly when it comes to attracting women, this trait becomes extremely powerful. Women aren't attracted to men who are always searching for fast fixes or instant gratification, nor are they looking for a man who is constantly checking things off a mental checklist. Instead, what truly grabs their attention is a patient man. This is where the Stoic concept truly shines. A guy who makes an effort to invest in the journey rather than merely sprint to the finish line. Since they understood that real growth in life and relationships takes time and doesn't happen overnight, the Stoics believed in the power of patience, not as a passive act of simply sitting around and waiting, but as a conscious act of choice. They also believed that being present, staying grounded, and having the wisdom to let things unfold naturally without forcing them to be stoic are all necessary. When you are patient, you are demonstrating that you appreciate the process and are not attempting to rush it. Consider how this translates into real life. You're not rushing to make your move or forcing things to happen. Instead, you're letting the connection build naturally, step by step, layer by layer. And the more you do this, the more you develop a magnetic energy one. Through life or relationships, you're saying, I'm here for the long haul, I'm invested in understanding and growing, and I'm letting things develop at their own pace. This in and of itself is incredibly attractive to women because it demonstrates a depth of character and emotional maturity that's uncommon to find. How to be patient. Women are drawn to respect and connection. It's a calm confidence that doesn't need to be bragged about or sought after, it just is. In fact, women are drawn to patient men because they create a sense of security. Energy is highly attractive because it speaks to a level of emotional intelligence and maturity that is difficult to find. Being patient demonstrates that you are not only interested in her, but also in the process of getting to know her in the journey of developing intimacy, trust, and connection, something that many women long for in a partner who is willing to put time and effort into the relationship without hurrying it. Now let's get real for a moment. How often do you hear someone say, I just don't have time for this, or I want results now? How many people do you know who want everything fast, whether it's success, relationships, or even love? But patience, that's rare. And this is exactly why it's so highly attractive to women. It shows that you're different. You're not like everyone else rushing through life, trying to get ahead of the game. You're choosing to be present, to enjoy the journey, to be part of the process, and that mindset, well, it speaks volumes. So let's put this into practice. The next time you're interacting with a woman, take a step back. Don't rush things. Listen to her, not just with your ears, but with your full attention. Take the time to understand her, to connect with her on a deeper level. Don't try to impress her with speed or flashy moves. Instead, show her that you're in no rush, that you value her company, her thoughts, her feelings, and the time you spend together. When you do this, you'll start to see how patience creates a deeper connection. It builds trust, it builds respect, and it draws women in because they'll feel that you're genuinely there for them, not just for what you can get, but for what you can give in a world that's always looking for the next best thing. Be the man who understands that the best things take time. When you embrace patience, you'll find that not only will women be drawn to you, but they'll also be addicted to the depth and richness of the connection you create now. Let's dive into experience. You see, experience isn't just about how long you've been around. It's about what you've learned and how you've grown along the way. Life throws challenges at all of us, but it's how we respond to those challenges that really shapes us. When a man has gone through life's highs and lows, he develops a certain perspective that is difficult to find in someone who is just starting out. He learns what really matters, what is worth stressing over, and what he can let go of. This kind of wisdom doesn't come from books or advice from others. It's earned through living, failing, trying again, and finding your way through the chaos of life. That wisdom gives you a unique way of navigating the world that is calm and measured rather than frantic or impulsive. This appeals to women because it seems stable. It's similar like locating a safe haven during a storm. When something unexpected happens, a man who has been around and witnessed both the good and the bad doesn't just react to life's events. Instead, he takes a step back, evaluates the situation, and responds thoughtfully. This is where experience comes in. He understands that stress, uncertainty, and frustration are all a part of life, but they don't define him. He doesn't let the little things bother him, and he definitely doesn't let life's bigger challenges get to him. A woman who is with a man who is confident in his experience and knows how to handle life's pressures with grace feels secure, not just physically but emotionally as well, knowing that no matter what happens, he can handle it. He can keep things balanced and steady. This brings us to something important: security. Shake him to his core. That calm, collected attitude is magnetic, and women find it incredibly attractive. Life experience taken away, knowledge that generates feelings of security or panic. He is dependable and always there for women, which, my friends, is a quality that makes them feel appreciated and seen. Now, let's examine the Stoic viewpoint on this. The Stoics were masters of perspective. They held that although life presents many difficulties, how we handle them defines us, not the difficulties themselves. One of their most well-known theories was that although we have no control over what happens to us, we do have power over how we respond to it. Stoicism emphasizes that it's not about avoiding adversity, but rather about learning to remain collected and tranquil in the face of it. A Stoic man doesn't get caught up in the whirlwind of emotions when things go wrong. Instead, he practices what they call apatha, a state of inner peace, where he's not easily shaken by external events. This doesn't mean he's indifferent or uncaring, far from it. It means he's able to maintain balance even in the chaos of life. Women find this incredibly appealing because it shows a depth of character and an emotional maturity that's rare. Imagine this. You're talking to a woman and things aren't going according to plan. Maybe she's upset about something or life just threw a curveball at her. The natural response for most people might be to panic, try to fix the problem immediately, or become overwhelmed by the situation. But if you've lived through enough experiences and embraced the Stoic way, you don't react like that. You listen, you understand, you offer support without overreacting. You give her a sense of peace simply by being calm, collected, and grounded. You offer her the kind of reassurance that only comes from knowing that you've seen the worst of life and you know how to navigate it. This creates a connection that's deeper than just physical attraction. It's emotional, it's mental. Women don't just want a man who can be charming or confident on the outside. They want someone who can be strong and steady in the storm, and that kind of strength is born from experience. So if you want to make a lasting impression and attract women in a way that goes beyond surface-level attraction, start embracing your experience. Use the wisdom you've gained from your own life lessons to stay calm. You may create enduring relationships by providing women with the emotional stability they desire and by responding to pressure to face life's obstacles with balance and clarity. That you'll not only make a woman feel truly seen and valued, you'll also leave a lasting impact on her heart. Women are drawn to men who have lived, learned, and grown from their experiences, and who now exude a magnetic presence that only comes from truly understanding life. Let's talk about something really powerful: emotional stability. Now, when I say emotional stability, I don't mean pretending that everything is perfect all the time, because let's be real, life isn't perfect. Right? We all face struggles, setbacks, and curveballs. But emotional stability isn't about acting like those things don't exist. It's about how you handle them when they do show up. It's about staying grounded and steady when life gets chaotic and not letting those outside forces dictate how you feel or react. Imagine this. You're out with a woman and everything seems to be going well, then, out of nowhere, something unexpected happens. Maybe you're dealing with a work crisis or your plans get thrown off or something personal comes up that could easily derail your mood. Now, a lot of people would get stressed, irritated, or even angry. They might let that moment mess with their whole vibe. But a man with emotional stability, he doesn't let the storm inside him take over. He stays calm, composed, and keeps his cool. That sense of stability, that emotional groundedness, is something women can't help but be drawn to. Why? Because in a world that's constantly moving and full of uncertainty, a man who remains steady and unfazed is like an anchor. Women are naturally attracted to this because it makes them feel safe. They know that no matter what life throws at them, this man will be there with a step presence, someone who won't get caught up. Emotional stability, staying grounded in chaos, in the drama or the negative, but will manage everything with grace. Now, this is where we can bring in the Stoic perspective. The Stoics, great thinkers like Marcus Aurelius Epicus and Seneca, had a very distinct approach to emotional stability. They believed that while we can't control the world around us, we absolutely can control how we respond to it. They taught that external events, no matter how difficult or challenging, don't have the power to disturb our inner peace unless we allow them to. In fact, one of the core Stoic ideas is that we should focus only on what's in our control and let go of everything else. This mindset is incredibly powerful because it allows a person to remain emotionally balanced no matter what life throws at them. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected. It's about understanding that our emotions are often just reactions to external events, and we have the power to choose how to respond. A Stoic man doesn't get overwhelmed by the chaos of life. Instead, he takes a step back, acknowledges his emotions, but doesn't let them control him. He practices what the Stoics call ataraxia, a state of tranquility where external circumstances don't disturb your peace of mind. And guess what? Women find this incredibly attractive. Think about it when you're with someone who doesn't let life's drama sweep them away, who stays calm in the face of stress. It creates an environment of positivity and stability. It's magnetic. Women feel safe, valued, and seen. They're not just drawn to the idea of a man who is unshakable. They are drawn to the calm energy that he brings into the space around them. So how can you develop this kind of emotional stability? It starts with developing awareness when something difficult happens. Instead of instantly reacting with irritation or rage, take a moment to pause, breathe. Think about the circumstance and consider whether I have any influence over it and how I can react to maintain my composure. It's a mindfulness practice that involves choosing your response rather than allowing your circumstances to control your mood. This isn't to say that you should ignore or repress your feelings. That's not the point. Rather, the goal is to acknowledge them without allowing them to control you. A man who can do this is someone who has perfected the art of emotional stability. He has developed the strength to face life's challenges head-on without becoming overwhelmed by them. And let me tell you, this emotional balance not only helps you keep your own peace, but it also makes you incredibly attractive to women. It's that quiet strength, the ability to handle whatever comes your way with grace and poise that draws women to you. It's a power that doesn't need to be displayed or promoted. It's felt in the way you carry yourself and keep your composure when everything else around you is chaotic. Last but not least, consider the type of energy you wish to bring into a space. A man who is often anxious, whining, or acting rashly will cause conflict. But a man who maintains emotional stability and remains cool and collected will foster a peaceful environment. Women are naturally drawn to people who can handle any storm without losing their composure, who give them a sense of security, who can hold space for them to be vulnerable, and who aren't shaken by life's ups and downs. That, my friends, is the power of emotional stability. It's not about being flawless or acting put together. It's about knowing how to stay grounded, knowing how to keep your inner peace, and offering that same peace to the woman you're with. When you do that, you'll not only attract her, but you'll give her the impression that she has discovered something genuine, valuable, and worth clinging to. So, when things get tough, remember the Stoic wisdom. You can't control the storm, but you can control your response, and that's a power that will make any woman feel truly connected to you. By adopting a calm, self-assured attitude, exercising patience, learning from mistakes, and developing emotional stability, you'll draw in the type of life that has meaning, the magnetic pull of ambition. The deep connection you seek isn't magic. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, and believe me, that's where real attraction starts. When a man is emotionally stable, he instills in women an unquestionable sense of safety and trust, which in turn makes them feel more attracted to him. It's similar to a spark that feeds a physical and emotional bond. All right, before we resume, if this is helpful to you, hit the like button. YouTube helps spread the word about this to more guys in need, keeps the information flowing, is quick and free, and has a significant impact. Thank you. Let's return to it now and explore something that gives this entire concept even more nuance. A man who knows exactly what he wants out of life. I mean, someone who isn't just going through the motions, but who has a clear vision of his dreams, goals, and ambitions. Has specific energy. This goes beyond simply having a plan for the future. It's about living each day with direction, passion, and purpose. Have you ever met someone who exudes confidence and clarity? It's not because they constantly discuss their plans. Rather, it's because their actions speak louder than words, and every choice they make is in line with something greater than the here and now. Their purpose is clear in their speech, their walk, and most importantly, how they navigate life. That type of energy is captivating and draws people in without them even realizing it. Women are particularly drawn to that fire because they can sense when a man is living intentionally, passionately, and not just waiting for life to happen to him. Now let's introduce the Stoic perspective because this is where things start to get really interesting. One of the main principles of Stoicism is to live in accordance with your nature, understand what your genuine purpose is, and remain in alignment with it. One of the greatest Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, frequently discussed the significance of leading a life that represents one's inner ideals and qualities. The Stoics understood that the way to true contentment was not through external validation, but rather by living a life true to oneself. He held that everyone has a higher purpose, and that by living in accordance with that purpose, we create meaning and fulfillment in our lives. Living with purpose isn't just about setting goals. It's about coordinating your actions with your values and your deeper sense of meaning. For an older man who is genuinely rooted in his purpose, it's about making decisions that represent who you really are and what you actually care about. This makes it an indisputable force. When a man is living with purpose, he's not just going through the motions. He's driven, passionate, and has a fire within him that's difficult to ignore. It's not about chasing after fleeting pleasures or trying to impress others. It's about living authentically, and women sense that authenticity the moment they interact with you. Women are drawn to that type of energy because it demonstrates that he has more than simply charm on the surface. He has a purpose for everything he does. Let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I met a man who seemed to have it all figured out. He wasn't ostentatious and he didn't brag about his achievements, but there was something about him that attracted people to him. When I asked him about his life, he didn't recite a litany of goals or dreams, but there was an unmistakable clarity in his words as he talked about his work, his passions, and how he wanted to make a difference in the world. His actions were obviously in line with a higher purpose, which is what made him so captivating. He didn't need to impress anyone because his energy was already impressing people, and women in particular were drawn to his enthusiasm because they could tell he was motivated by something more than just the next big thing. How does one cultivate this sense of purpose? It begins with spending some time thinking about what is most important to you and asking yourself, what are my values? What I wish to offer the world is mastering communication, establishing stronger bonds. My larger vision. This is a lifelong process, so it doesn't mean that everything will fall into place after you start living with purpose. You make choices that are in line with who you really are, and clarity will be evident in all of your interactions. Here's something really potent to consider. When you live with purpose, you stop needing approval from others. You're no longer living to please others or to fit into a certain mold. Instead, you're living to honor who you truly are, and this authenticity is incredibly attractive. That energy appeals to women because it's uncommon. Let's conclude with a question to think about. Are you living with purpose? Are your actions in line with your core values and your long-term vision? It's not just about success or having a plan. It's about having a strong inner connection and living intentionally. If not, it's time to consider how you may begin living with greater direction. Once you do, you'll observe a change in the way people, particularly women, react to you when you show that level of intensity. Women are drawn to that magnetic, purposeful energy like a moth to a flame. So think about what drives you, get clear on your mission, and let that fire guide you through life. Trust me, when you do, you'll find that women are drawn to that energy like a moth to a flame. And here's a big one: communication. I know we all think we know how to talk, but let's be honest, communication isn't just about saying words, it's the basis of every meaningful connection we have with others. How often have you been in a conversation where you're talking and it seems like the other person isn't paying attention? Or perhaps you've been in a situation where someone says everything correctly, but their tone and body language convey an entirely different message. True communication is more than just speaking. It also involves listening to what is not being said, reading between the lines, and observing all of the small clues that are used in conversations, especially with older males. This is a skill that can take a lifetime to master, but it's one of the most effective tools you can have when forming connections with people, especially women. Let's take a moment to think about it. They frequently have this skill down to an art. It's not that they were born with it. Rather, they've had years or even decades to hone it over time. They've learned the value of listening, being present in a conversation, and truly understanding what the other person is feeling. It's not just about responding or expressing your own opinions. It's about acknowledging and respecting what the other person is sharing with you. Let me tell you a little tale. A while back, I met a guy in his 50s at first glance. He wasn't someone who stood out in a crowd. He wasn't flashy, didn't speak a lot, and wasn't trying to impress anyone. But when he spoke, it was like the whole room shifted. You could tell he was listening, really listening when someone shared something with him. He didn't just wait for his turn to talk. He took a moment to reflect on what they said. His responses were thoughtful, measured, and delivered with an attention to detail that showed he truly understood. He didn't interrupt, didn't try to finish people's sentences. It was clear that he respected their thoughts, and he wanted to hear the whole story before offering his own. Now, women in particular are drawn to that kind of communication. Why? Because it makes them feel heard, valued, and understood. And let's be real. How often does that happen in a world where distractions are everywhere, where we're all constantly multitasking? It's rare to find someone who will truly give you their full attention. So when a man does that, it's magnetic. There's an energy that's created when you communicate on that deeper level. It's more than just talking, it's connecting. It's not just about the words you say, but about the way you make the other person feel in the moment. That's what older men get. So the cornerstone of a genuine partnership is respect. Since the Stoics had a lot to say about the value of communication, let's include a little Stoicism here. One of the most well-known Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the value of clarity and communication with respect. The best way to get even is to not be like that. In other words, don't be someone who just talks to talk or listens to respond. Instead, listen to understand and speak to make things clearer rather than more complicated. He felt that we should concentrate on the substance of what is being said rather than just the surface-level noise. When you speak with patience, respect, and honesty, you're not only building a stronger bond with the other person, but also upholding your own principles, which is what makes communication so potent in the Stoic sense. The Stoics understood that while we have no influence over how other people speak to us, we do have control over how we react and interact with them. We are able to communicate effectively because we have clarity and presence of mind due to our sense of control over our own actions and reactions. Take a moment to consider this. You're already ahead of the game if you're genuinely present. In a discussion, listening carefully, observing body language, paying attention to tone, and answering with kindness and clarity. This kind of communication creates enduring, meaningful connections. Additionally, it's the kind of communication that helps women feel genuinely connected to you since it fosters an atmosphere in which she feels at ease, discussing her ideas, feelings, and desires with you. But here's the real kicker. It takes time to develop this kind of communication talent. Self-awareness, practice, and patience are all necessary. Because of their extensive experience, older men have frequently had years to hone this skill, but anyone can improve at any age. The first step is to be really present when speaking to others, especially women. When it's your moment to speak, do it with clarity and respect, understanding that your words have weight. Don't just hear the words, feel the passion behind them. Pay attention to the pauses, silences, and body language that accompany what is being said. Here's a little tip. You'll be surprised at how much more you understand about someone when you give them your whole attention. So to sum it up, the next time you're in a conversation, put your phone away, stop thinking about what you're going to say next, and just listen. You'll notice how their tone changes, body language changes, and the conversation feels. The ability to communicate effectively can make all the difference. Listening, being present, and speaking with clarity and respect are all important. You don't just connect with people on a surface level when you communicate like this. You establish a deeper, more genuine, and more attractive bond. This is especially true with women, who respond as though you're speaking directly to their souls. Let's not forget that this is the foundation of any meaningful, long-lasting relationship. Respect is a deeper, more substantial kind of respect that establishes the foundation of trust and understanding between two people. When I say respect, I'm not referring to the kind of respect that is based on surface-level gestures like simply holding the door open or saying please and thank you. It's about appreciating your partner's thoughts, feelings, boundaries, and unique perspective on the world. It's about realizing their value not just as someone you care about, but as an individual with their own experiences and emotions that deserve recognition. The magic of respect is that it not only fosters harmony, but also creates an environment where both people can thrive, grow, and support one another. Women are particularly drawn to men who know how to create that kind of atmosphere. It's about more than just saying the right things or doing the right things. Imagine for a moment that you are in a relationship where you both constantly show appreciation for one another, where you feel safe to express your true selves without fear of judgment, and where you're heard and valued in every conversation. It's about showing up every day with a sincere desire to make her feel valued. This is where older men's wisdom truly comes into play. They've learned over the years that respect isn't something you give just when things are going well. It's not just about navigating the easy times or showing affection when everything is perfect. It's about being there even when things get difficult. It's about handling disagreements with grace and understanding rather than falling into the trap of arguing or blaming. Older men understand that when tensions rise, the best course of action is to remain composed, grounded, and most importantly, respectful. They recognize that fighting isn't the same as fighting dirty. Rather, they see disagreements as a chance to strengthen their bond and overcome obstacles as a team. Let me tell you an example. I used to know an older man, let's call him Mark. He had been married for more than 30 years, and on the surface, everything seemed to be going well. However, what really stood out about Mark and his wife was the way they handled conflict. Instead of yelling, insulting, or allowing resentment to fester over time, they would sit down calmly and talk things out. They respected each other's feelings, and even in the heat of an argument, they made sure the other person felt heard. I recall one specific argument where Mark's wife became upset about something that seemed rather insignificant to him. Rather than dismissing it or becoming defensive, he sat with her, listened to her worries, and said, "I understand where you're coming from, and I'm sorry you feel that way. Let's figure out how we can make this work." In addition to resolving the problem, his solution made sure his wife understood how she felt. In conclusion, he found that the secret was to learn how to use Stoicism to achieve irresistible attraction. Respect is more than just maintaining harmony. It's also about actively comprehending the viewpoint of the other person, particularly during heated situations, and demonstrating empathy even when you disagree. Because of their life experiences, older men typically understand that disagreements don't have to turn destructive. Instead, they may be handled calmly and maturely, which gives women a sense of comfort and safety that they greatly cherish. This returns us to Stoicism. The Stoics hold that self-control is the first step toward respect for others. We can't always control how other people act, but we can control how we respond. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius, for instance, often reminded himself to treat people with kindness and understanding, no matter how difficult the situation may be. His philosophy was straightforward. If someone wrongs you, don't react impulsively or with anger. Instead, respond with patience, reflection, and respect. He wrote that when you are in a conflict with someone, remember that it is not their character that offends you, but your perception of it. This Stoic mindset helps us change the way we approach relationships when we truly respect someone. We don't just treat them well when things are going our way. Stoicism is said to be a reflection of our inner peace when we are able to remain composed, even in the face of a storm of emotions. Older men who have faced difficulties and learned from them are said to carry this inner calmness into their relationships as if it were second nature. Consider the type of respect you would like to receive from a partner. Someone who respects your boundaries, listens well, values your opinions, and gives you the confidence to express your actual feelings without worrying about being judged. That type of respect transforms a relationship from one between two individuals who just happen to be together into a genuine partnership based on mutual respect and trust. Let's not forget how important this type of respect is for long-term partnerships. Relationships face difficulties over time. They experience ups and downs, and there will unavoidably be times when you two don't agree. However, when respect is the cornerstone, those times don't destroy the relationship. Rather, they present chances to deepen the bond. It's the capacity to say, we may not agree right now, but I respect you, and I respect us enough to work through this together. When you embody respect in this way, you're not just building a relationship, you're building a partnership that can withstand the test of time, and that's a powerful thing. We've just covered 7 qualities that are often associated with older men, but are timeless and powerful for anyone no matter their age. Respect is more than just a nice word we use when things are going well. It's a mindset, a way of being in a relationship that says, I value you, I hear you, and I am committed to this connection no matter what challenges we face. Objective. The foundation of truly satisfying partnerships is communication and respect. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this journey through Stoicism and its impact on modern relationships. Keep in mind this: live with purpose, connect with authenticity, and love with all your heart. When you embrace these qualities, you'll see your connections grow stronger and more meaningful. When it comes to intimacy, knowing how to connect emotionally and physically can take your relationships to a whole new level. See you next time.